I have just finished my project for my interactive graphics class, and that is this digital poster in which I have made to advertise a concert of mine. It could have been any concert or any live event that would have a link, but I decided to go all out and make my own live event so that I could use my own materials and my own music. I mean, it's not a real event. If I go here, it's just like a live stream that is going to run unlisted on March 24th. And I really can't play all my music live anyways. And then here's a default website that shows some of my music. But the main thing here is the graphics. As you can see, Annie's bobbing his head a little bit with his guitar ready to play. What shall he play? He could play any of these 3 songs as soon as he gets plugged into his amp. Let's play some funk rock, shall we? Now, as you may have noticed, it said now playing Forget It at the bottom while it was playing, and that's a reference to the song that I made called Forget It, which is of the genre funk rock. And as you could have seen, he was playing along to the music. Now, this may seem like something that's easy to do, but believe me, this is incredibly complicated. I have like 900 lines of JavaScript and CSS to figure out all the positioning of it. And that's because this is all one SVG image broken up into different components. Like I've got the head, the neck, the hair, each of the ears, the eyes, the arms, the fingers on each hand, the whole guitar, all these sorts of things have different animations playing for each of them that I needed to target with CSS. And they're all running at a sequence. And then the JavaScript calls different animations at different times, like the headbang animation you saw, or in certain cases, the finger animations. And I can make it so it works for all 3 of these different songs, and I programmed each of them so that he could play it as it is essentially played by me in the real world. And then here's the last one, a song that I have not yet released, but I've been working on it and I liked it a lot, so I wanted to include it in this one. Now, as for some of the things that make this so complicated, apart from the fact that I had to program each of those individual motions, let me open up the code here just a sec. See, each of these numbers represents different times that animations are supposed to fire, and then these numbers, of the smaller ones, determine which fingers are to be fired at certain times. I had to plan all this out in a big Excel sheet. But the part that makes it complicated is, if I go back here, I need to account for the fact that they're not going to listen to the whole song at some times. They might click one in and decide to choose another one while the other one's playing. And as you can see, the animation is able to stop without jumping back to the original position and then reset itself to play the next one. That took a lot of different coding to figure out, but I eventually figured out a sort of structure where when you click each of the buttons, like funk play is the one button that plays the funk rock, it has 2 different states. If clickable if metal clicked or exp clicked equals true, that's essentially if any of the other ones are clicked at the time that you click this. You unplug it first, have a bit of a delay, then plug in the one that you want. And then if just this button is false, like if the other two conditions don't apply, then you can simply add in the animation for the funk play, and then if you click the button again, it will remove it. So you can click on any assortment of these, as well. You can click on any assortment of these at any time and have it play correctly without screwing up the animation. And I also added a bit of a buffer to prevent people from just spam clicking it and breaking the animation further. It's hard to say what the hardest part of it was. Honestly, probably just figuring out the array. I actually had to go to Stack Overflow and ask them, hey, how can I paste in, or how could I, yeah. So I had a code to figure out how to make the strumming animation play at certain times. But the problem was I could not get it to stop at any random time. I could get the animation to stop, but not the array for loop. And so if I stopped it and started it again, there would be overlapping animations and it would look all jittery. The one bit of Stack Overflow help that I had, let's see where it is. Somewhere up here. So here it is. So function strum patterns array. This controls the strum animation of the different rotate transforms. And then they taught me about the map command, where you could map the strum array. And then later on, there's a function down here to clear the strums. It asks if there are any strum timeouts, and then for each of those, you clear the timeout. As well as clearing the interval, because the animation itself wouldn't loop. I needed to have another interval that plays over it and goes a second time. And see, each of these numbers represents a millisecond time within the song, and that I had to pick out and figure out. And the way that I did that was initially in the CSS. If I pull up here, you see I got to scroll through lines and lines of all this. These are the different headbang animations, at least for the for one selection. As you can see, 0.783 is the amount of time that it takes to play one beat of the song. And I was able to devise that by getting the BPM and then converting that into milliseconds. And the same thing with the metal. This time it's 0.48, and then the experimental genre is 0.43. And so I went into this Excel spreadsheet that I made. All these different times are planned out here. I counted each beat in a style like this, adding it up each time, and then midway through it, like if I knew it was halfway between a beat, I would put a number in a cell here and figure out, okay, half of 430 is 215, so that's what it will be, adding them on to each one. And then I would mark off whether it was fretting or strumming at the certain time. I had to do this for every single beat of each song here. And towards the end, I changed it up a little bit, where instead of just picking out the beats, I took the beat and divided it up at the start, and then just figured it out. I wrote the beat and then the half beat in here. So my knowledge of music definitely helped me a lot in this project. But overall, I think it was a massive success. It just makes me so happy to see him bob around without a care in the world, and then just play the music that he enjoys. And at this point, I'd say this project is pretty much done. If I were to add anything else, although I'm not sure if I will because I've got a lot of other projects to focus on for finals week, I might hide a little something in here, like if you click his nose, it might honk or something like that. I don't know. Also, just to go over this, the whole web page doesn't matter if you resize it or not, because it will rearrange itself to have all the content fit nice and well inside. And everything still works. Now, as for how this works with other browsers, because I'm using Chrome for this, Firefox, it works decently well. Safari is just incredibly laggy. I'm going to try and figure out a solution for that in the coming weeks. And then on mobile, it just doesn't work for some reason. The audio doesn't want to play, and then that screwed up all the other different codes. But we shall see. Maybe I'll find a fix for them. But I'm happy with the standpoint where it's at now. And I hope you guys enjoyed the little show too. Alright? Everybody have a good day now. I'll see you later.